The text message from my mother seemed innocent enough. "Sweetie, coming over for dinner tonight? Dad's making his famous pot roast." But I should have known better. In my family, nothing is ever just dinner. My name is Natasha, and I'm about to tell you how I orchestrated the sweetest revenge against the people who were supposed to love me most. I pulled into my parents' driveway at exactly 6:30 p.m., the gravel crunching under my tires. The moment I spotted my sister Louisa's Mercedes parked next to Mom's SUV, my stomach dropped. Family dinners don't include Louisa unless there's an agenda. "There's my successful little sister." Louisa's voice dripped with honey as I walked through the door. She wrapped me in a hug that felt more like a python's embrace. "The finance wizard herself." Mom bustled over, wiping her hands on her apron. "Natasha, sweetheart, perfect timing." She kissed my cheek, leaving behind the waxy residue of her signature red lipstick. Dad barely looked up from his newspaper, offering a grunt of acknowledgement. The famous pot roast was nowhere in sight. I discreetly pulled out my phone and hit record in my pocket. Another habit I'd developed after years of misunderstandings about what was said during family conversations. "Sit, sit," Mom gestured to the living room couch. "We need to talk about something exciting." "We?" I raised an eyebrow. "The family," Louisa clarified, perching on the armchair like she was about to conduct an interview. "We've been discussing some amazing opportunities." Dad finally folded his newspaper. "Your mother found the perfect house. 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, granite everything." Mom clasped her hands together. "It's in that gorgeous neighborhood by the lake. You know where the Hendersons live?" My throat tightened. "That's quite an upgrade from this place." "Well, we deserve it," Louisa interjected. "After everything Mom and Dad have done for us." I felt the trap closing in. "And you're telling me this because—" "Sweetheart," Mom leaned forward, her voice dropping to that soft, manipulative tone I knew too well. "We need a little help with the mortgage application." "Just a signature," Dad added quickly. "You've got that fantastic credit score, and with your income, you want me to co-sign a mortgage?" The words felt like glass in my mouth. "It's just a formality." Louisa waved her hand dismissively. "The house is only $750. With all of us contributing, it's totally manageable." $750,000? I nearly choked. "Now don't start with the negativity." Mom's eyes narrowed slightly. "After everything we've sacrificed for you." "The private school tuition," Dad mumbled. "The dance lessons," Louisa added. "The braces," Mom continued. "Remember how we stretched our budget for those?" I touched my teeth reflexively, remembering the countless times they'd reminded me of the $5,000 investment in my smile. "I need time to think about this." "Think about it?" Louisa scoffed. "We'd do it for you in a heartbeat. That's what family does." Mom's eyes welled up with practiced tears. "I just thought, after all these years, you'd want to help give your father and me the retirement home we deserve." I stood up, my hands shaking slightly. "Let me review the paperwork. We can discuss this next week." "But the seller needs an answer by Friday," Mom protested. "Then I'll look it over tomorrow," I promised, already heading for the door. "I just need to process this." "Don't overthink it, sis," Louisa called after me. "It's just a signature." I drove home in a daze, but the moment I walked into my apartment, I played back the recording. Then I heard it, the whispered conversation in the kitchen while I was supposedly in the bathroom. "She'll sign," Mom's voice, smug and certain. "She always does what we ask eventually." "And when the payments get too high?" Louisa asked. "We'll just let it default," Mom replied. "What's she going to do? Sue her own family?" I sat in the dark of my apartment, their laughter echoing from my phone's speaker. They were right about one thing. I always did what they asked, but this time would be different. This time, I had a plan. I opened my laptop and typed a message to my old college friend Sergio. Need your expertise on mortgage note sales. Urgent. Dinner tomorrow? Then I started a new document and titled it Operation Karma. By the time I was done, they'd learned that family loyalty cuts both ways. You're really going to do it? Sergio stirred his coffee, studying me across the table at our favorite diner. Co-sign their mortgage? I'm going to do more than that. I slid a folder across to him. I need to know if this plan is legally sound. He flipped through the documents, his eyebrows rising higher with each page. Setting up a shell corporation to buy defaulted mortgage notes? That's thorough. Is it possible? Legal? Yes. Ethical? He shrugged. That depends on your definition. More ethical than what they're planning. I pulled out my phone and played the kitchen recording. Sergio's face darkened as he listened. Jesus, Natasha, your own family? Family? I laughed bitterly. Let me tell you about family. The waitress topped off our coffees as memories flooded back. Remember that scholarship I won senior year? The one that paid for business school? Sergio nodded. Louisa told everyone she helped me write the essay, that she stayed up late coaching me, sacrificed her own time. She even gave interviews to the local paper about being an inspiring big sister. Want to know the truth? She was in Cancun that whole month, never read a single word. That's messed up, but 2 years ago, Mom guilt-tripped me out of taking that job in Chicago, said she had health problems, needed me close. Turned out she just didn't want to lose her emergency bank account. Look, Sergio leaned forward. I'll help you set up the corporation. But are you sure you want to go nuclear? This isn't just burning bridges. This is orbital bombardment. My phone buzzed. Another text from Mom. The realtor needs those papers signed tomorrow, sweetie. Don't let us down. They're counting on my guilt. I showed him the message. They always have. The next morning, I walked into my parents' house with a smile and a pen. Mom practically snatched the mortgage documents from my hands. I knew you'd come through. She hugged me tight. You're such a good daughter. Dad patted my shoulder awkwardly. This means a lot to us, kiddo. Louisa just smirked from her corner of the couch, tapping away on her phone. Probably already planning which room would be her personal yoga studio. Smile! Mom held up her phone. This is going on Facebook. Family makes dreams come true. I smiled wider than ever, knowing that photo would age like milk. 3 hours later, I sat in Sergio's office, watching him file the incorporation papers for Phoenix Recovery LLC. Everything's set up under the holding company, he confirmed. When they default, you'll be perfectly positioned to buy the note. They'll never know it's you until it's too late. How long until we can move? They need to miss 3 payments, 90 days minimum. He hesitated. You can still back out. My phone chimed again. A group text from Mom. Moving trucks booked, thanks to our amazing co-signer. Louisa replied instantly. Best sister ever. No, I said quietly. I can't back out. Because they never will. This pattern goes back as far as I can remember. I thought about my 10th birthday, when Louisa borrowed the money I'd saved for a bike. About my high school graduation, when they skipped the ceremony for her friend's destination wedding. About last Christmas, when they re-gifted me the sweater I'd given Mum the year before. Sometimes, I told Sergio, the only way to break a pattern is to burn it down. The next few weeks were a blur of moving days and housewarming parties. I played my part perfectly, the supportive daughter, the loving sister. I helped carry boxes, arranged furniture, and smiled for countless photos. This is everything we've dreamed of, Mum gushed, standing in her new marble kitchen. And we couldn't have done it without you. That's what family's for, I echoed their favorite phrase, watching as they clinked champagne glasses. Later that night, as I drove home, my grandfather called. The only one I still trusted. Natasha. His voice was worried. Your mother's showing off the new house online. That's quite a mortgage. Don't worry about it, Grandpa. Just be careful, child. I've watched how they treat you. Don't let them— I won't, I promised, thinking of the corporation papers safely locked in my desk. Not this time. I ended the call and checked my banking app. Right on schedule, the first mortgage payment had been missed. 89 days to go. The game was on, and for once, I knew exactly how it would end. The first collection call came on a Tuesday morning. Ms. Riley, this is regarding the mortgage payment for— You'll have to speak with the primary borrowers, I replied calmly, following the script Sergio had prepared. I'm just the co-signer. 2 missed payments now. 30 more days to go. My phone lit up with a text from Louisa. OMG, sis! You have to come to my birthday party this weekend. Rented the most amazing estate. I pulled up her Instagram. There she was, posing by an infinity pool, caption reading, "Living my best life." The comments were full of heart emojis from Mum. The party was exactly what I expected. Champagne fountains, hired photographers, even a sushi chef. I nursed a single glass of wine, watching my family perform for their social media followers. Isn't this incredible? Mom gushed, wobbling slightly in her designer heels. Louisa knows how to throw a party. Amazing, I agreed. How's she affording all this? Oh, you know your sister, Mom waved dismissively. She's got her ways. I did know. I'd seen the credit card statements that came to the house, all with frighteningly high balances. They never planned to pay any of it back. The mortgage company called again, I mentioned casually. Mum's smile flickered. Did they? Must be a mistake. I'll handle it Monday. She wouldn't. I knew because I'd been monitoring the account through the online portal. Not a single payment had been made. I excused myself to use the bathroom, but took a wrong turn, accidentally, into the study. Louisa's laptop was open, her Facebook Messenger visible. I couldn't resist looking. Louisa. Mum's worried about the mortgage calls. Madison. I thought you had a plan. Louisa. We do. File for bankruptcy in 6 months. Natasha's name is on the loan. She'll have to deal with it. Madison. Isn't that kind of harsh? Louisa. Please, she can afford it. Besides, she owes us. I took photos with my phone, hands shaking with quiet rage. Looking for something? I spun around. Madison stood in the doorway, eyes narrowing. Bathroom, I said quickly. Got turned around. She stepped aside, but her expression said she didn't believe me. Not that it mattered anymore. I had what I needed. Back at the party, Louisa was opening presents. Oh my God, Natasha! A gift card? She held up the envelope with barely concealed disdain. How practical. Sorry, I smiled. I'm a little tight on cash right now. You know, with the mortgage payments and all. The room got quieter. Dad suddenly became very interested in his phone. What mortgage payments? Someone asked. Oh, nothing, Mom jumped in quickly. Just some family business. More champagne, anyone? Later that night, I forwarded everything to Sergio. The photos of the messages, screenshots of the missed payments, recordings of conversations. He replied immediately, all set on our end. Note purchase is ready when they hit 90 days. The next morning, I woke to dozens of notifications. Louisa had tagged me in photos from the party. Best sister ever. Thanks for always supporting my dreams. The irony was almost poetic. Day 85, another collection call. Day 86, a formal notice arrived at my apartment. Day 87, Mom left a voicemail about some silly mix-up with the bank. Day 88, Louisa posted about shopping for a new car. Day 89, I signed the final papers with Phoenix Recovery LLC. On day 90, I sat in Sergio's office as he processed the purchase of the defaulted mortgage note. Last chance to back out, he warned. My phone buzzed. A group chat message from Mum. Family dinner this weekend? We need to discuss some financial planning. I knew exactly what that meant. They were ready to spring their bankruptcy plan on me. They probably had a whole speech prepared about family loyalty and supporting each other through hard times. Do it, I told Sergio. He clicked, submit. Just like that, I owned their debt. I owned their house. I owned their future. The foreclosure notice will go out tomorrow, he said. Are you ready for what comes next? I thought about Louisa's birthday party, about the champagne and sushi and photographers, about the laptop messages and the missed payments and all the years of manipulation. They're not ready for what comes next, I replied. My phone buzzed again. A text from Madison. Hey, I think you should know what they're planning. It's not right. Too late, Madison. Way too late. I drove home that night, feeling lighter than I had in years. Tomorrow the foreclosure notice would arrive, and the real show would begin. I wondered if they'd still be posting on social media when it did. The foreclosure notice arrived on a Thursday. I knew because Mum's panicked call came at 8:43 a.m. Natasha! Oh God, you need to come over right now! Her voice cracked with genuine fear for the first time in years. There's been a horrible mistake. What's wrong? I asked, keeping my voice carefully concerned. Just come over, please. I took my time getting ready, applying my makeup with precision, choosing my most professional outfit. Power suit, subtle jewelry, hair pulled back tight. Not my usual family dinner look. When I pulled up to the house, my house now, technically, Louisa's car was already there, parked crooked across the driveway in her panic. Finally! Mom yanked open the door before I could knock. Her mascara was smeared, hands trembling as she clutched the foreclosure notice. Look at this! They can't do this to us! Louisa paced the marble kitchen, still in her yoga clothes. I've called like 6 lawyers already. None of them will take our case without a massive retainer. Dad sat at the dining table, staring blankly at his coffee. Let me see that. I held out my hand for the notice, pretending to read it carefully. Oh no, this is serious. We know it's serious, Louisa snapped. We're about to lose everything, and your credit is ruined too, by the way. You should be more upset about this. I am upset, I said calmly. But screaming won't help. Have you tried contacting the bank? They won't talk to us. Mom collapsed onto the sofa. They said the loan was sold to some company. Phoenix something. Recovery, I supplied helpfully. Phoenix Recovery LLC. They all turned to look at me. How did you know that? Louisa's eyes narrowed. It's right here on the notice. I pointed to the letterhead. Have you tried calling them? They're impossible to reach. Dad finally spoke. Just an automated system. Well, I straightened my jacket. I suppose we should discuss your options. Options? Mom perked up. You can help? Not financially, I said quickly. My credit's destroyed now too, remember? But you could try bankruptcy like you planned. The room went silent. What do you mean, like we planned? Louisa's voice was dangerously quiet. I pulled out my phone, pulled up the screenshots. Like you discussed with Madison? About sticking me with the debt? Mom's face went white. That's not... Or we could talk about the conversation in the kitchen, the night you asked me to co-sign. About deliberately defaulting? Dad stood up so fast his chair fell backward. You recorded us? I record everything, I smiled. A habit I developed after years of gaslighting. Amazing how different conversations sound when you can play them back. You little snake, Louisa hissed. After everything we've done for you. Everything you've done to me, I corrected. And now we're here. What does that mean? Mum's voice was barely a whisper. I reached into my briefcase and pulled out a folder. It means Phoenix Recovery LLC is my company. I bought your debt. I own this house now. The silence was deafening. That's not possible, Louisa stammered. Very possible. And legal. I have excellent lawyers. I stood up, smoothing my skirt. You have 30 days to vacate the property. Mom lunged forward, grabbing my arm. You can't do this to your own family. Family? I gently removed her hand. Family doesn't plot to destroy each other's credit. Family doesn't steal and lie and manipulate. You taught me that, remember? Every time you took advantage, every time you gaslit me, every time you used me, you taught me exactly what family means to you. We'll fight this, Dad declared. With what money? I asked quietly. The money you spent on Louisa's party, the empty bank accounts, the maxed out credit cards. Louisa started to cry, real tears this time, not her usual performance. Where are we supposed to go? That's not my problem anymore. I walked to the door, then turned back. Oh, and don't bother calling Grandpa. He's known about this for weeks. Turns out, he's been watching how you treat me for years. He sends his regards. I was halfway to my car when Mom's voice rang out. We're still your family. You'll regret this. I paused, looked back at the house I now owned. No, I don't think I will. Family or not, karma finally caught up with you, and she has my signature on all the paperwork. The drive back to my apartment was silent. No music, no phone calls, just the quiet satisfaction of a plan perfectly executed. My phone buzzed with messages I wouldn't read, voicemails I wouldn't listen to. They had 30 days to leave, 30 days to face the consequences of their actions, 30 days to learn that karma doesn't always wait for the next life. Sometimes she just needs the right paperwork. The next 3 weeks were a masterclass in denial. While their world crumbled, my family kept up appearances with almost admirable dedication. Louisa's Instagram stayed active. Sunday brunch goals, posted beneath photos of $30 avocado toast. Mom's Facebook featured shared articles about toxic children and ungrateful daughters. Dad remained silent, as always. The calls and texts were relentless. Please, sweetie, we can work this out. Mom, 3:24 a.m. You're making a huge mistake. Dad, 7:15 a.m. I hope you die alone, you heartless bitch. Louisa, 2:45 p.m. We raised you better than this. Mum, 11:52 p.m. I forwarded everything to Sergio, who added it to our documentation. They're getting desperate, he warned during our weekly meeting. Desperate people do stupid things. He was right. The next day I discovered they'd listed the house for sale. You can't sell what you don't own, I reminded Mom when she called to demand I cooperate with the realtor. We still live here, she shrieked. We still have rights. For 9 more days, I corrected. Then the sheriff arrives. She hung up. An hour later, my phone lit up with a text from Madison. Your sister's looking for a place to crash. She says this was all your fault. I replied with screenshots of Louisa's bankruptcy plan. Madison's response was immediate. Holy shit, that's messed up. The next morning, I drove by the house. Moving trucks were already there, but they weren't moving things out. They were moving more in. A delivery van unloaded what looked like new patio furniture. I called Sergio. They're buying more stuff? He sounded incredulous. Probably on credit, I said. One last shopping spree before bankruptcy. You know they'll try to leave it all in the house out of spite. Let them, I smiled. More inventory for the estate sale. That afternoon, Mom showed up at my office. My assistant tried to stop her, but she barged in anyway, mascara streaking down her face. Your grandfather is very disappointed in you, she announced. Really? I pulled up my messages. Because he just sent me this. Proud of you for standing up to them, kiddo. Been a long time coming. She deflated visibly. We're your family. You keep saying that like it means something. Where's your heart? She demanded. Where was yours? I countered. When you planned to destroy my credit? When you laughed about sticking me with your debt? When you spent years taking advantage of me? We gave you everything. No, I stood up. I earned everything I have, and now I've earned this too. Please leave before I call security. She left, but not before saying, You'll regret this when you're alone. The next week, Louisa tried a different approach. She sent a group email to our entire extended family, painting herself as the victim. The responses weren't what she expected. Didn't you just post about buying a new car? Cousin Rachel, maybe try getting a job? Uncle Mike, karma's real, huh? Aunt Sarah. Even her best friend Madison turned on her after seeing the full story. The carefully crafted image they'd maintained for years was cracking. With 3 days left before eviction, they tried one last play. Dad called, his voice heavy with rehearsed emotion. Your mother's not well, he claimed. The stress is killing her. If anything happens to her, it's on your conscience. I checked Instagram. Mom had posted from a spa 2 hours earlier. Self-care Sunday. Nice try, Dad, I said. But the guilt trips don't work anymore. The final days ticked by. I watched through the property's security cameras as they frantically packed, arguing over who owned what. Louisa tried to take a chandelier. Mom filled her car with anything valuable enough to pawn. The night before the eviction, I received an email from an unfamiliar address. The subject line, Your sister's true colors. Inside was a video from Madison, Louisa at her birthday party, drunk and laughing. Of course we're not paying the mortgage. That's what little sister's for. She's so desperate for our approval, she'll cover anything. God, she's pathetic. I forwarded it to Sergio with a single line. Still think I went too far? His response, Not far enough. Tomorrow, the sheriff would arrive. Tomorrow, they'd face the final consequences of their actions. Tomorrow, the house would be mine completely. I poured myself a glass of wine and raised it to my reflection. Here's to family, I toasted sarcastically. My phone buzzed one last time. A text from Mum. We're still your family. You can't change that. No, I typed back, but I can change everything else. See you tomorrow. Then I turned off my phone and slept better than I had in years. Eviction day dawned bright and clear. I parked a block away, watching the sheriff's car pull up at exactly 9 a.m. 2 deputies stepped out, followed by the property attorney Sergio had hired, right on schedule. I adjusted my sunglasses and checked my reflection in the rearview mirror. Power suit? Check. Documentation? Check. Years of pent-up rage? Double check. Ms. Riley? The lead deputy greeted me. We're ready when you are. I nodded, falling into step behind them as they approached the house. Through the windows, I could see frantic movement. They knew we were coming. The deputy knocked. Sheriff's Department, we have an eviction order. Mom opened the door, perfectly made up despite the early hour. Her smile faltered when she saw me standing there. There must be some mistake, she started. We're still negotiating with the property owner. The property owner is present, the attorney interrupted, gesturing to me. I kept my sunglasses on. Hello, Mom. Louisa appeared behind her, face red with rage. You actually showed up? To throw your own family out? Let's keep this civil, the deputy warned. We stepped inside. The house was a mess of half-packed boxes and scattered belongings. Dad sat in his recliner, staring straight ahead like a statue. You have 1 hour to collect essential personal items, the attorney announced. Everything else will be documented and held for... 1 hour? Mom's voice rose to a shriek. We haven't finished packing. You've had 30 days, I reminded her. We didn't think you'd actually go through with it, Louisa screamed. What kind of monster are you? The kind you created. I finally removed my sunglasses. The kind who learned from the best. Mom started crying, but I noticed she was angling herself toward the deputy, playing to her audience. Please, she's my daughter. We raised her. Save the performance, I cut in. The deputies have seen the documentation. They know exactly what you tried to do to me. Louisa lunged forward suddenly, grabbing an expensive vase, one I'd given them last Christmas. You want this house so bad? Ma'am, don't, the deputy started. The vase flew past my head, shattering against the wall. The deputy moved quickly, restraining Louisa as she thrashed and screamed. That's assault, the attorney noted calmly. Should we press charges? I considered it for a moment. No, but I want it noted in the report. You're enjoying this, Dad finally spoke, rising from his chair. Your own parents, like you enjoyed planning to destroy my credit? Like you enjoyed lying to me? Using me? I walked to the kitchen, running my hand along the marble countertops. Speaking of which, how's that bankruptcy planning going? Mom's face went white. How did you— I know everything, I interrupted. Every plan, every scheme, every conversation. I've been 10 steps ahead of you since the night you asked me to co-sign. We're your family, she whispered, her final card to play. No, I corrected her. Your tenant's in default, and your time is up. The next hour was tense. The deputies supervised as they packed essentials into their cars. Louisa tried to steal artwork off the walls until the attorney threatened legal action. Mom kept bursting into dramatic tears that dried up suspiciously quick when no one paid attention. The locksmith will arrive shortly to change the locks, the attorney announced as the hour drew to a close. Where are we supposed to go? Mom demanded. That sounds like a you problem. I echoed her words from countless past situations. Like when I needed help with rent during college, remember? They stood in the driveway, 3 shocked faces staring at me as reality finally sank in. Their perfect plan had backfired spectacularly. You'll regret this, Louisa spat. Everyone will know what you did. Everyone already knows what you did, I corrected her. Madison's been quite helpful in sharing those party videos. How's your social media following doing? The locksmith's van pulled up. Time to end this. Goodbye, I said simply. Don't bother trying to contact me again. My lawyers will handle any necessary communication. Wait, Dad called out as I turned away. Where will you live? I paused at the front door. My front door now. Here, of course. It's a beautiful house. Perfect for a fresh start. The deputies escorted them to their cars. I watched from the doorway as they drove away, 3 separate vehicles heading in different directions. Fitting, really. The attorney handed me the new keys. Congratulations on your property acquisition. I smiled, feeling the weight of the keys in my hand. No, congratulations on my freedom. The locksmith got to work as I walked through my new house, already planning renovations. My phone buzzed. A message from Grandpa. You okay, kiddo? Better than okay, I replied. I'm home. The video of the eviction went viral 3 days later. Madison had filmed everything from across the street, and the internet was divided. Half called me a hero, the other half said I was heartless. My inbox exploded with messages from strangers sharing similar stories of family financial abuse. You're trending, Sergio announced, walking into my office with his laptop. The Reddit post has over 100,000 upvotes. Great, I muttered, scrolling through another batch of messages. More attention. Speaking of attention, he set a newspaper on my desk. Your sister gave an interview. The headline read, Local woman claims daughter's hostile takeover, left family homeless. I skimmed the article, noting how they conveniently left out the part about their planned bankruptcy scheme. Any legal issues we need to worry about? None, Sergio grinned, but you might want to see the comments section. The top comment was from Madison. I worked for this family. Here's what really happened. Followed by a detailed account of their plot, complete with screenshots. My phone rang. Grandpa. You seen the news? He asked without preamble. Hard to miss. Your mother's been calling everyone in the family, trying to raise money for a lawsuit. I laughed. How's that working out? Not well. Aunt Sarah told her to get a job. Uncle Mike blocked her number. He paused. You okay with all this attention? I have to be, I said. They're the ones who made it public. After hanging up, I drove to the house. My house. The renovation crew was already there, stripping away years of gaudy decorations. Mom's live laugh love signs were gone, replaced by clean, modern lines. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. You'll always be alone. No one will ever trust you after this. Lou. I forwarded it to my lawyer and blocked the number. Inside, the workers had found something behind the wallpaper in what used to be my childhood bedroom, scratched into the drywall. You'll always owe us. Want us to patch that? The foreman asked. No, I decided. Leave it. It's a good reminder. That evening, Sergio came over with takeout and updates. Your mother's job application was rejected at the town clerk's office. Apparently they Google potential employees now. And Louisa? Living with some guy she met at a bar. He's already asking her to split the rent. He hesitated. Your dad tried to contact the mortgage company today. And? Wanted to work out a payment plan. I think reality's finally hitting him. I walked to the window, looking out at the perfectly manicured lawn. They really thought I'd just accept the debt, didn't they? That I'd roll over like always. Be careful, Sergio warned. Revenge like this always comes with echoes. As if on cue, my phone lit up with a message from Madison. Heads up, Louise is planning something. She's been asking weird questions about your work schedule. I forwarded it to security at my office, another problem to monitor. The next day, I found Mom sitting in her car outside my office building. Security? I spoke into my phone. Silver SUV by the south entrance. Driver needs to be escorted off property. She saw me watching and held up a sign. Just talk to me. I turned away as security approached her car. My phone buzzed moments later. You can't ignore us forever. Mom, watch me. I replied, then blocked another number. That night, I sat in my new home office, surrounded by boxes still to be unpacked, and opened my laptop. The Reddit post had gained another 50,000 upvotes. The comments were a mix of support and judgment. You're my hero. I wish I'd done this to my toxic family. Blood is blood. You'll regret this. Finally, someone standing up to financial abuse. How could you do this to your own mother? I closed the laptop and walked through the quiet house. Their presence lingered in every room. Mom's favorite reading nook, Dad's spot at the dining table, Louisa's yoga corner, but their power was gone. My phone buzzed one last time. A message from Grandpa. Coming over tomorrow to help you paint. No arguments. I smiled, feeling the weight of years lifting. The house was just a house. The revenge was just justice. And family? Family was what you chose it to be. Outside, a car drove by slowly, Louisa's Mercedes. She was probably planning something dramatic. Let her try. I had security cameras, lawyers, and most importantly, nothing left to lose. I poured a glass of wine and raised it to the empty room. To Karma, I toasted. May she always collect her debts. Tomorrow would bring more drama, more accusations, more attempts to make me feel guilty. But tonight, Tonight I slept in a house that was truly mine, surrounded by the echoes of a revenge well served. The final box from the estate sale contained photo albums. I sat cross-legged on my newly refinished hardwood floors, flipping through decades of carefully curated family memories. Each smile now looked calculated, each posed moment hiding an agenda. My phone buzzed. A message from Louisa. "Can we talk?" I started to delete it, then paused. Opening the message revealed a longer text. "I'm at the diner on 4th. Just me. No mom, no drama. One conversation." I shouldn't go. Sergio would advise against it, but something pulled me there anyway. Louisa sat in a corner booth, looking smaller somehow. Her designer clothes were gone, replaced by department store basics. She didn't look up when I slid into the seat across from her. "You're working at the mall now," I said, not a question. "Retail," she nodded. "Assistant manager trainee. Turns out my influencer career didn't survive the scandal." "Why am I here, Louisa?" She pushed her coffee cup around. "Mom and Dad split up. He's living in some apartment complex off the highway. She's staying with Aunt Sarah, driving her crazy with victim stories. Not my problem." "No," she agreed. "None of it is anymore, is it?" She finally met my eyes. "You won. Completely." "It wasn't about winning." "Then what was it about? Revenge?" "Justice," I corrected. "Consequences. Breaking the cycle." The waitress came by. I ordered coffee. "I found a therapist," Louisa said suddenly. "She's helping me understand some things. About patterns. About how we treated you. Enlighten me." "We were awful," she whispered. "I was awful. Taking credit for your achievements, using you as our safety net, planning to dump that debt on you." She wiped her eyes. "God, who does that to their own sister?" "You did, all of you." "I know." She pulled out her phone, showed me her bank app. "Look, my first real paycheck. Not borrowed, not scammed. Earned." I stirred my coffee. "Why are you showing me this?" "Because you were right. About everything. About us being parasites. About karma." She took a shaky breath. "I'm not asking for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. I just needed you to know that you broke something in us. Something toxic." "Good. Is it? Breaking your family apart?" "You weren't family," I said quietly. "You were hostage takers." She nodded slowly. "Yeah, I get that now." She stood up, dropped some cash on the table. "Thank you. For the wake-up call we needed." "Louisa?" She turned back. "Mom and Dad, are they really learning anything?" "Dad is. He's working as a night security guard, paying his own rent for the first time in decades." She smiled sadly. "Mom's still Mom. Some people don't change." After she left, I drove to Grandpa's house. He was on his porch, working on a wooden rocking chair. "Saw Louisa at the diner," he said, as I sat beside him. "You were watching out for me?" "Always." He handed me a sander. "Help me with this chair. It's for your house." We worked in comfortable silence until he spoke again. "Your mother came by yesterday. Wanted money." "Did she get any?" "No. Told her the Bank of Enablement is closed." He examined the chair's arm. "She cried. Accused me of choosing you over her." "Did you?" "I chose justice over enabling. Same as you did." He stood back, admiring our work. "Sometimes family isn't about blood. It's about respect." My phone buzzed. A final message from Mom. "I hope you're happy in that house, surrounded by your blood money and betrayal." I showed it to Grandpa, who chuckled. "Still playing victim. Block her number." "Already did." I looked at the rocking chair. "Think it's ready?" "Almost. Like you." That night, I sat in my new chair on my front porch, watching the sunset. The house behind me was quiet, clean, mine. No guilt, No manipulation, no toxic patterns repeating. A car slowed as it passed. Dad's old sedan. He didn't stop, didn't wave, just drove on, accepting the new reality. My phone lit up with a text from Madison. Louisa actually showed up for her shift today, on time. Weird, right? I smiled, rocking gently. Maybe Louisa was changing. Maybe Dad was learning. Maybe Mom never would. And maybe that was okay. The estate sale money had gone to a local charity, helping victims of financial abuse. The house was being renovated room by room, erasing their presence, but keeping my strength. And me? I was finally, completely free. I opened Reddit one last time, updating my post. Karma doesn't knock. Sometimes she just changes the locks. The sun set on another day of independence, and I didn't feel a single echo of regret.